History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells of people where they have been and what they have been, where they are and what they are. Most important, history tells a people where they still must go and what they still must be. The relationship of history to the people is the same as the relationship of a mother to her child.
And there was time I saw 3 generations of our family in one room at the same time.
They're all from Alabama?
Alabama, except that my grandmother, Mary, said that she came from a farm in Georgia originally. And every time we would meet, she would tell the story of her husband, Buck. She had 3 children by Buck. And Buck was sold to a slave breeding farm in Virginia. This is something we don't talk about. Slave breeding farms.
What's that?
These were farms that they bred slaves like they bred horses, because he was handsome and tall, and they just like they take a thoroughbred horse to breed another thoroughbred, they took human beings to breed other human beings. So he was sold to a slave breeding farm in Virginia.
Do you know where in Virginia this was?
Well, she didn't know either. So after emancipation, she spent 3 years in Virginia looking for him. And she never found him. And every time the family gathered, she would tell that same story as though we had never heard it before. And then she would turn to my grandfather, Jonah, and she would say the same thing over again. Jonah, that was your father. That was my grandfather, my father's father she was talking to. This what I mean is that very often I would see when my father visited the farm after my mother died, I would see 3 generations sometime coming together. My father and his people, my grandfather and his people, and my great-grandmother, Mary. And she would tell us the story because my great-grandmother, Mary, that we call Ma Mary, she witnessed the last slaves who came over directly from Africa.
Did she ever tell that story?
She told very often.
What did she say about that?
These stories of those slaves.
What did she have to say? What did she see?
And she told these slaves who, she said, spoke in grunts instead of languages. She could not understand their language. They had not adjusted to the English language. These Africans, she said, that spoke in grunts and had not learned the language. And she told the story of how they was broken up and very few stayed among them. So obviously they were auctioned off and went from different places and were sold. She witnessed the last auctioning of the slaves before the Civil War. And then she would tell a story that we tended not to believe, and she would reinforce the story to the point where we would stop arguing with her. And that was the story that she said she witnessed General Sherman marching to burn Atlanta, and she saw him, her language, I seed him. His eyes were redder than a coon's. And we said, Mom Mary, you know you didn't see General Sherman. I seed him, she said. going down to burn up Atlanta. Everything in sight. Meanest man God ever created. Don't know why he burned up the city. I wish I could create her language. It was the beauty of black speech was in her language. Now, there are three women that I have worshipped and thought they could do no wrong. My Mary, my own mother, and my fifth grade teacher, Evelina Taylor, in Columbus, Georgia. This was one of the women in my life that not only that I have worshipped for their beauty, their grace, and the things they have imparted in me as a person, but I think my character and my attitude toward the female gender is shaped
by those three women.
By those three women.
Tell me what your father looked like and what your mother looked like.
My mother was beautifully African, and you will see this in blacks in the South. My mother was dark-skinned with long hair, and we would sometimes, we had no electricity in those days, of course, and we would take the light out of the room, the lamp, and we would, the children would take mother's hair apart and comb it just to see if there was electricity in the hair. You know, we had no electricity in the house. We say all the electricity we had no lighting, had no, and so there was one man up the street, that was the preacher, he had electricity. You know, he was the only person in the house, and we would say, we've got electricity, mother's got electricity, and so we would comb her hair and see the sparkles. And that was the only electricity we had. And that was great fun for her, you know.
What did your father look like?
He was brown skinned. We call him biscuit brown. Biscuit type.
Was he heavy set, slender, tall, short?
No, he was medium. So the girls in my family, my sisters tend to be brown skinned and the boys tend to be black, you know. But there was never any.
How many?
There was 9 all told.
What were your parents like? Were they church-going people? Were they disciplinarians? Were they strict?
Very much church-going. And my father was a great disciplinarian, but beneath it all a softy.
What did they insist on? Good manners and...
Good manners and respect for elders. And respect for parents, the kind of respect that I think would be good today, that an adult gets respect because it's an adult, whether it's your parents or not. And you grew up in a community where any adult can discipline any child, whether it's that parent's child or not. And you live with some respect for adults. When you see an adult coming, you begin to behave. Any adult. My mother was a washerwoman, and I always went to pick up the clothes. Because she came late to the town, she didn't get any of the bundles of the rich white people, so she had to wash the clothes of the poor. And so, this is hard to remember now, but this is true. She would wash the clothes of a whole white family, $1 a week. Wash and iron, pick up and deliver for one family, $1 a week.
And she got a very serious timeline for you. God damn it, the Ashango phone, evidence of prime number, 25,000 BCE. You got some older than it, motherfucker, bring it out. We don't want your regurgitation. We don't want to see no motherfucking bootleg manuscript, nigga, that you done Xerox copy down in the bottom of your motherfucking cousin basement, nigga. We want straight up, authentic, original artifacts and scrolls. Can you do it? Would you do it, folks? information and the dogma out, goddammit, and put it on the table. If you got evidence older than the Ashango bone 25, bring it up. This is the mathematics we talking about. Africans invent the first calendar, still carved on the goddamn wall of Kemet. 4,241 BCE, and that's just the first motherfucking day where they can assume without any doubt that the solar calendar existed in the Nile Valley. Not no damn lunar calendar while you walking around with a fucking crescent and a star. This is a solar-centered galaxy. This ain't no motherfucking lunar-centered galaxy. So when you got the motherfucking moon in the center of your motherfucking, your dogma, I know you ain't nothing but a cracker, nigga. Because we are the children of Ra. We are the children of the goddamn sun. Ra. We're not going back to that bullshit you niggas talking about. 2650 step pyramid constructed. Early use of integral calculus. We dropping calculus. We dropping trigonometry. We dropping geometry. We dropping astronomy. We dropping mathematics. What do you have in Asia that can stand up to this evidence, this hard evidence in fact, where we can still go today and see it for ourselves? We didn't say nothing about it used to be here. Here it is, goddammit. So while you motherfuckers is up under the waters, in the motherfucking star, right here on this motherfucking earth, where we standing on the most greatest accomplishments that ever been constructed by man and woman is in Africa, not in Asia. And so you can come with all that bootleg shit. We will repulse you as we have always done. And that's why you fear the science that we dropping. Nigga, because you had truth on your side, nigga, you can stand with confidence. I see the weakness in your eyes, nigga. I see the weakness in your heart, nigga, because you do not have the truth. Because truth brings confidence, which I can see in you motherfuckers, you do not have. None of you niggas have confidence. All of you niggas is weak. And you motherfuckers don't quit fucking with this truth, because it will prevail and it will break your ass. Let's go back into some more mathematics. Pyramid of Khufu built 2600 BCE. Applied the chromatic theorem, the Pythagorean theorem, which the motherfucking Greeks stole up out of Egypt. Came in and got a little knowledge. Moscow math papyrus written. Egyptian use of the volume of truncated pyramid. You understand what I'm saying? Coming to a point. Rhyme mathematical papyrus written by scribe almost 1650. We got the goddamn evidence that we are the authors of mathematics. And ain't no other book, no Quran, no goddamn Torah, no goddamn New Testament Gospels. None of that shit was found in the arms of our ancestors. Only the Pur Im So whatever you built with your shit, show us. All I ask of any motherfucker, show me the greatest accomplishment that you have constructed with your science. And I will go to the Nile Valley and show y'all motherfuckers hundreds of pyramids.